Hi guys, welcome back to this week's video. So in this week's video I'm going to go through how I made this recent commission. He's a Wolfhound, Irish Wolfhound, so I'll go through everything that I did to make it. The sculpting is a separate video, and then the rest of this video will be how I made this whole little doll. So yeah, if you want to know how I made him, then keep watching. Alright, so if you haven't already checked out my sculpting video for the Irish Wolfhound head, try and check it out before watching this video, and then you can get an understanding how I started it. It's in my sculpting playlist. I'll try and remember to link it down below, but I never remember to link things. But yeah, go through the whole process of sculpting it, what eyes I use, and what tools I use as well, and also what clay I use. So yeah, check it out and see how you like it. Alright, so once that's all sculpted, baked and ready to go, I can start painting all of the areas that are going to be showing through the faux fur. So usually the eyes, around the eyes, the nose and the mouth. I usually do one coat of paint to start off with and then do another coat of paint once I've applied the faux fur. And I always use a primer before I paint things. And it's usually by the brand Derivian Matisse, and it's a canvas primer. I find it works really well for primers on resin and clays. It's got like a little bit of a tooth to it, so the paint can actually stick to the surface. Moving on to the faux fur, and I purchased this faux fur strictly for this doll. I thought it was quite similar to an Irish Wolfhound fur, so I purchased it from Bartfield here in Melbourne. But have a look at your online stores and see if you can find anything that's similar if you're making an Irish Wolfhound. So for this body, I used my fox body because it was very similar to what an Irish Wolfhound body was. I just changed a couple of things just to match where it's more bulky or where it's thinner. So I changed that as I was drawing the patterns onto the faux fur, but it was very similar. So all I really changed was the belly area and the back area, just to make it a bit thicker, and then I can start cutting it out. I usually cut out the section first, and then I can go and sit down and cut the rest of it out, because I don't really it's not good for your back when you're leaning over like this too much. So a good look at the faux fur. You can see it's got the same sort of texture, and you can sort of manipulate it into any texture that you like as well. So you can make it smooth or you can make it wiry. So I thought it was a perfect faux fur for this doll. Now I'm using a small pair of sharp scissors to cut the patterns out. You can use a blade or a bigger pair of scissors, but I find using a small pointy scissors work best for me to get in between the pile and the back of the faux fur. That way it just cuts the backing and not the pile. So always try and insert the blades in between the pile and the backing. I usually find that using a scalpel or something ends up stretching the fabric, so I tend not to use that. But have a go and see what you like best, and see what works for you. So once the faux fur is all cut out and the patterns are all cut out, I usually use a sewing machine. For this technique, I use a sewing machine anyway. So I go around and I pin it first side together. I just have a pack of pins that you don't need anything special. Just be careful not to run over them when you're using a sewing machine, as I've done many times. So yes, first side together, you pin it, and then you can run it through the sewing machine. So depending on your sewing machine, you want to be careful when you're running faux fur. My machine's quite old, so sometimes it struggles with thicker bits of faux fur or just certain textures of faux fur. It sort of struggles with, so I usually take it slow just to make sure the needle's not moving too fast, because sometimes it can get stuck, and I've broken a few needles doing that. So I usually take it slow, but just see how your machine is if you have one. So this is what we have once I've sewn it all up. You can see I've left the legs open, and I've also left the back end open. That's so I can turn it the right way around. So the bigger the hole, the easier it is to turn it the right way around. So I usually leave a little bit of a bigger hole for the legs, because it can get a bit tricky when you're trying to flip it. especially if you've got thick faux fur as well. So it's just a case of turning it around on each other. Now the tools that you can use a blunt objects. Never use something sharp because you can break the actual fabric and then you'll have to sew it up. So I use a blunt wooden tool mostly to get the smaller bits through, so you can just push it through gently, or I use a pair of needle nose pliers to pull it through, and that's probably the best one that I use is the needle nose pliers. You just stick it in the hole, grab some faux fur and pull it. It should easily slip through the holes that you've left. So this is what it looks like once it is all flipped the right way around, and we can start making the armature. For this one, I use a ball and socket armature for the spine and wire legs for the legs. And then I have a wire armature tutorial in my shop if you are wanting to know how to make it. It's at creaturesofnat.com, and I also have some tips over on my Patreon on ball and socket armatures. So there's heaps of information out there. Just experiment and see what type of armature works for you. So once I've inserted everything and attached all of the pieces, I can start gluing and sewing things. So I start off by gluing the neck to the head, and I use a tacky fabric glue that I use for all my other dolls. It's a really good glue. If you can find something in your local craft store or online that's a fabric glue, by all means try it out. It's usually clear and it's quite thick and sticky, so it works really, really well, and it dries pretty quickly as well. And it's pretty hard to get off once it's dry, so I highly recommend getting something like this. If you're in Australia, I got this one from Spotlight. And it comes in a big bottle or a small bottle if you just want to try it out. So once that is all secured, I can start sewing everything up. I usually leave the head to dry overnight, or at least for a couple of hours, just so it's nice and secure before adding any stuffing. So applying any sort of pressure might, and the glue's still wet, it might risk the faux fur coming off the head. So I usually make sure it's very, very dry and stuck on. So once that's done, I use a ladder stitch to sew up all of the loose ends. I have a video about a ladder stitch if you want to check that out as well. I go through it using faux fur so you can get a first-hand look at what I do. And then once that's all sewn up, I use that same tacky fabric glue to attach the faux fur to the paws, and also adding some polyfill to the inside before it's fully sewn up. Polyfill is just a stuffing that you find in pillows, like cushions, couch cushions and stuff, which you can also get from your local craft store or online. It's pretty easy to find. We just call it polyfill here. But you can use other things like I don't know what it's called, but it's got like a gluey sort of texture to it, but I don't really like it because I found it a bit stiff. But yes, I go with the polyfill. Next is sewing the back end up, so I attach the tail or slide the tail onto the armature, and then I can start sewing up, finally adding any bits of polyfill that needs to be put into any little crevices to give the body some depth and fill it up a bit more. So again, I use that ladder stitch to go around the whole back end of the body. So this is what it looks like once it's all sewn up and nothing's been done. So it's in desperate need of a trim and also some faux fur on the face. So you can see how I've made the face a little bit smaller because I'm going to be adding that faux fur. You don't want to make it big because, especially if you're using long faux fur, because then you risk making the head too big for the body. So I always make it a tiny bit smaller. For an example, you could look at a skull of an animal and see how that looks on a body before the faux fur is attached. It's sort of the same concept that I do, but it's more of basically a filler, I guess. So I've attached all the faux fur and I've left it quite long just because Irish wolfhounds have longer fur, and I wanted to make sure whether the customer wanted it long or short anyway. So the customer went for long faux fur, which I thought was good too because I like the longer hair on Irish wolfhounds. Anyway, so that's how I made this little doll. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. I really do appreciate it. And if you want to check it out, the link is in the description. I have heaps of tutorials and tips on there. You can also check me out on Instagram and Facebook at Creatures of Nat, and also my shop at creaturesofnat.com, where I have a whole bunch of different things for sale. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye!